Here we're going to look at the different types of elasticities, mainly the price elasticity of demand and something else called the revenue test. So the first thing that we need to know is just a couple terminologies. First is revenue. Revenue is just money brought in. It's just your sales. So if you take a look at this demand curve where the equilibrium price is $5 and the equilibrium quantity is 100, that would be total revenue of $500, right? Because $5 each, 100 sold, 5 times 100 gives us $500. That's $500 of revenue. You can call it sales as well. Second, we know that inelastic demand is where price goes up and people buy the same amount or about the same amount. If people are buying the same amount, that's called perfectly inelastic demand. So take a look at this. At $1, the consumers are buying 1,000. Raise the price to $2, they're still buying 1,000. $3, they're still buying 1,000. So that's perfectly inelastic demand, where people are buying the exact same amount. So if the price were to go up and they buy a little bit less, it could still be considered inelastic demand. But here's the revenue test. At $1, consumers are buying 1,000, and your total revenue would be $1,000, right? Because it's $1 each times 1,000. If you raise the price to $2, they're still buying 1,000. Now their total revenue is $2,000. $3, still they're buying 1,000. $3,000 would be the total revenue. So with inelastic demand, if price goes up, then total revenue goes up. So that's called the revenue test. So here it is spelled out for you, the revenue test for elasticity of demand. It's this: if you raise the price and revenue goes up, the total revenue goes up, then demand is inelastic, and the opposite would also be true. Meaning that if you drop the price, then total revenue would go down. So notice with inelastic demand, the arrows move the same way. With inelastic demand, if you raise the price, total revenue goes up, or if you lower the price, total revenue goes down. Okay, so it's the same thing that we saw right here. Okay. With elastic demand, if you raise the price, there's a big drop off in people buying, and total revenue will go down. If you lower the price, then a lot more people will buy, and your total revenue will go up. So notice with elastic demand, the arrows move in the opposite direction. So take a look at this and what I have in parentheses. Price goes up, total revenue up, or price down, total revenue down if it's inelastic demand. With elastic demand, these arrows move in the opposite direction. Price up, total revenue down, or price down, total revenue up with elastic demand. That's what you need to know for the revenue test. Now, there's also a price elasticity of demand formula. And if they ask you to use the formula for price elasticity of demand, it has 3 parts. But let's look at this demand curve right here. Let's ignore the rest of this for now. But let's just take a look at this and let's use the revenue test. So the revenue test is if we raise the price, what happens to revenue? So at $4, consumers are buying 20, so that would be $80. If you raise the price to $5, then consumers are buying 10, that would be $50. So here, price went up from $4 to $5, and we went from making $80 to $50. So that would be elastic demand, right? Going back to this, here if we raise, here it is, if we raise the price, total revenue would go down. So that means that demand is elastic in that example. But what if we're asked about the elasticity of demand formula? So here's the 3-part formula, okay? The formula that we're going to use is this one here. Price elasticity of demand. This tells us, is demand elastic or is demand inelastic? This is the formula. Percentage change in, so my triangle, remember that delta means change in. Percentage change in quantity demanded over the percentage change in price. That's the formula that we're looking to use. So if I come back here, we want to again be able to use that formula, percentage change in quantity over percentage change in price. Here's the graph that we're given right here. The first thing that you're going to do, well, first of all, we don't know the percentage change in quantity and percentage change in price by just looking at this. So there are two other formulas that we're going to use first. So first thing that you want to do is label. So the first price that you have, $5, we're going to label that as P1. The corresponding quantity, we're going to label as Q1. This is one of the most important things. Okay, so first price P1, corresponding quantity Q1. That's the first step. Second price, label it P2, corresponding quantity, label it Q2. We first want to use this formula here, the percentage change in quantity formula. That is Q2 minus Q1 all over Q1 times 100%. So all we have to do is plug in the numbers. So Q2 minus Q1. So the Q2 is 20 minus Q1, which is 10. All over 10. Just plugging in the numbers. So 20 minus 10 equals 10. We just bring over that 10. We just get all of that, obviously 1. And then times 100%. So I obviously made these numbers really easy because we have 1 times 100% just gives us 100%. The second, so that's step 1. Step 2, figure out the percentage change in price. So percentage change in price is a very similar formula. P2 minus P1 all over P1 times 100%. So P2 is 4, P1 is 5. So we have 4 minus 5 as our numerator all over 5. So take the numerator first. 4 minus 5 is -1. Bring over the 5. And then times 100%. I forgot to put that here, but times 100% basically means put that as a percentage. -1/5 is a -20%. So step 1, percentage change in quantity. Step 2, percentage change in price. We bring that over to this formula here. This is step 3 now. So percentage change in quantity, we had that back here. We had that as 100%. So 100%. Percentage change in price, we had as a -20%. Okay? So just plugged it into this. Again, this is step 3. So 100 over -20 gives us a -5. Now here's your key. Your key here says if it's between 0 to -1, then demand is inelastic. And in that case, they probably want to raise the price to raise revenue, to make more money. If it's between -1 to -infinity, demand is elastic. And in that case, they might want to drop the price to make more money. Because if with elastic demand, if you drop the price, more people start to buy it up. If it happens to be exactly -1, which is quite rare, then that's something that's not elastic or inelastic. It's called unit elastic. In that case, there's nothing you could do with the price to make more money. You would just have to price it the same. Okay? So in our case, we got a -5. Well, -5 is between -1 to -infinity. So demand is therefore elastic. And an economist would recommend to a business owner maybe that they drop the price if they want to make more money. So just to reiterate what we have here, price elasticity of demand formula has 3 parts. We're trying to figure out this final part, percentage change in quantity over percentage change in price. The first thing that you do is label. First price P1, Q1, P2, Q2. Then plug it into this formula, percentage change in quantity, Q2 minus Q1 all over Q1 times 100%. Then percentage change in price formula, which is a very similar formula. And then we're taking that to this last formula. And here again is your key.